thank you so much for stopping by. This video is going to be about 1917, the new fantastic movie directed by Sam Mendes. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the technical aspects of the film, and I will talk about that a little bit. But the main focus of this video is going to be about what I think the movie is trying to say. After the initial reviews for 1917, most of the praise was being heaped on Roger Deakins, Sam Mendes, and Thomas Newman for the technical side of the film, and it deserves every bit of praise it's gotten. It is one of the best shot films of all time. There's one shot in particular towards the end of the film when all the soldiers are running onto the battlefield and we're tracking the main character. It's in the trailer, but it's going to be a cinema-defining shot. It is unbelievable. And I give Sam Mendes a ton of credit because if you look at the behind the scenes of the decisions that needed to be made, he could have gone a much more conventional, much more easy route for this film, but you can tell that he cared so much about it because it's a story from his grandfather, and he put everything into the film, and he deserves every bit of praise he's gotten. If you want to learn more about the technical side of the film, and it's worth learning about, I'll leave a video in the description talking about Sam Mendes and Roger Deakins and what they really wanted in terms of visual style. It's an incredible video. I highly recommend watching it, but I think for this video, so much has been said about the cinematic direction of the film. I'm going to talk more about the messaging and the characters because that's generally what I pay more attention to when I watch movies, and there's other channels on YouTube that can do a really great job breaking down the cinematography specifically. One thing worth mentioning in 1917 is that the characters are operating within a reactive environment instead of a proactive environment, and that is very common in war films, but I think it was George R. Martin who said you want your characters to be dictating where the plot goes, not the plot itself. And while I understand that, and while I think it's better for characters to be dictating the story, it's okay because in 1917, again, they're in a war, they're trying to react to very difficult situations, they're just trying to survive, so you don't get to see them do anything different than a lot of other people would do when they're trying to survive. But that's okay in this film because it's so well put together, and you have a connection to the main character, and you understand his struggle, even though you might not see different layers to him. So I think it's worth pointing out, but I don't think it hurts the film very much, if at all. While watching 1917, I was trying to pay close attention to what Sam Mendes was trying to communicate. We've heard so much about the cinematography and the other technical sides of the film. I wanted to see what the heart was. What was Sam Mendes trying to say in this film? And sometimes it does take me a couple days to digest movies and extract what I think their meaning is, but I'm going to give it a shot even though I just saw it like 6 hours ago. So here's what I think is worth thinking about when watching this film. As we follow the main characters throughout the film, we get the sense that they're really living in hell. I mean, you have dead soldiers being eaten by rats, animals gunned down for no reason, the remnants of innocence and beauty just left behind and destroyed. But despite all of that, beauty sometimes emerges and shows itself to the characters and to us. And that's Sam Mendes trying to say that despite all of this, despite all the murder and the killing and the treachery, there's still something worth experiencing, and there's something pretty hidden underneath, in hiding, in fact. And that's what I think the core message of the film is. The sequences in which beauty emerges are very brief. Again, most of this film is hell on earth, but there are moments. One key moment is when Schofield is on the run from a German soldier, and he hides away in a little home, and he runs into a young French girl and this child. In this scene, you have beauty literally hiding away from the hellish environment it's been forced to inhabit. You have this pretty young girl and this delicate little infant, and they're hiding away and they don't have much. And there's a message of morality here as well, which is Schofield could have tried to take from them and tried to do everything in his ability to survive for himself. But instead of doing that, he forfeits his food and forfeits the milk he found, which would be beneficial to him on his mission. But he recognizes that in an environment which is so horrific, you need to do everything in your ability to preserve beauty and preserve innocence. And that's what he does. And that's what Sam Mendes is trying to say. No matter how bad things get, do not give up on the positive aspects of life and beauty itself. Another very important scene with this idea in mind is when Schofield jumps into the river to avoid being killed by German soldiers, and while he's in the river before he washes up on shore, there's these flower petals which are coming down onto the river, and they're mixed with these dead bodies that have run into the dam at the very end. And again, it's this beauty mixed with despair. And then when Schofield comes on shore and he runs into the British battalion, he meets this young soldier singing to all the other soldiers after they've experienced God knows what, probably the most horrific things you could possibly conceive. And they just silently listen to him. And they kind of absorb the moment and absorb the beauty of the moment. And the message behind that, I believe, is no matter how bad things get in your environment, maybe you have a 2-minute period on the worst day of your life when you have your favorite song come on the radio and you can kind of sit back and enjoy it and be content with it. Things can get pretty damn bad in life, but there's moments of beauty that you can focus on and really indulge. And I think that's something Schofield does here, and it's very important. The final scene of the movie wraps up these themes very well when Schofield finds Blake's brother and he lets him know that they were traveling together and he ended up dying. And there's a very powerful moment, and you can tell there's a deep, deep respect between the two soldiers. And when he passes off his rings and his necklace, you can tell there's a conversation earlier in the movie when they talk about honor in war and they get these medals, but do they really mean anything? Because at the end of the day, we're just men trying to survive, This is tin. It's nothing more than that. But I think the last scene of the movie, there's more to war than just trying to survive, dying, killing. The moment between the two shows how deep these connections can get between soldiers and the beauty between it and the mutual understanding and everything. There's so much emotion behind the scene. I think it pulls together the weight of everything that's happened so well. Despite the technical masterclass that is 1917, I think if they left out these beauty emerging in darkness moments, it would lose a lot of its weight. It would sort of become a style over substance film if it was just, two soldiers fending off terrible circumstances, trying to survive. But because they added these brief moments, these giving your food away to a young girl and a baby, listening to a young soldier sing, or having a conversation, reminiscing about your dead friend with your dead friend's brother, these moments of deep connection and deep emotion. If you took those out, the movie just wouldn't be what it is. It's a very memorable film and there's a lot to think about. If you did not get a chance to watch 1917 over the weekend, please go and see it. It really is a masterpiece from Sam Mendes, one of the best war films made in modern cinema. And again, there's a lot of very interesting themes. It's not only a technical masterpiece, there's a lot of good thought in there. So please go and see it. If you're interested in other analysis videos, I have some on Jojo Rabbit and Uncut Gems, which are pretty recent, so you might enjoy those. And please subscribe if you want to see some of my future content I will be posting very soon. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and hopefully I will see you soon. Have a good one.